Hey there everybody, hope your day is going well. Carried with Old School Gaming here, and welcome to my second PokeTalk. Whew, what a day I've had. So, after recording the Yellow's journey through Viridian Forest, and taking care of all that editing, it was time for me to, well, go out into the world. Got a haircut, got a physical, set up for an eye exam, which will be tomorrow, my time. And during all that waiting time, I've been doing plenty of grinding, so I may or may not be able to record Red, Blue, and Yellow's gym battle, first gym battle, at least before I have to get to bed. I don't know, we'll see. Now, speaking of gym battles, I totally forgot to mention this in the first PokeTalk, along with a couple other things that I will be getting to. So, the way gym battles are going to work is a certain condition will be set. I'm only going to be choosing 1 to 3 Pokemon per cartridge just to sweep the gym. And the condition will be that the Pokemon selected will not be able to participate in any future gym battles. They will be able to enter the rotation as I'm, going along, whatever route, whatever cave or anything. And of course they will eventually be, going up against the Elite Four, but that's a ways off. Now there are going to be a couple of exceptions, specifically in the first 2 gyms. The first exception, so Red and Blue will be fighting with Squirtle in the first gym, because all the other Pokemon they have really just can't cut it at all. Well, except for Kensei in Red, or rather Mankey in Red, but that's a trade, and a very unruly Pokemon, because can only control up to level 10 right now, until I get the Cascade badge. And then I can finally start using unruly Pokemon, at least for a while. And then in the second gym, once again, limitations on what Red and Blue have caught, they will be using Lightning. Just that Pikachu will sweep the gym for both Red and Blue, whereas Yellow in the first gym will be able to use Mankey, so yeah, Mankey's out of any future gym battles, and Yellow will have a unique opportunity to get Bulbasaur before getting to the gym, so Bulbasaur will sweep the second gym for Yellow. But once I finally get past, not Celadon, Cerulean. Once I get past Cerulean City, I'll finally be able to start catching more variety, and each cartridge will be able to have their own Pokemon to sweep each gym. Like I said, 1 to 3 Pokemon, and then no more gym battles. Now, as I'm sure you noticed, the way I described my box organization in the first PokeTalk is a little different from what was actually seen on stream when the different versions were trading with one another. And that was because I actually had a previous system that I was going to mention in the first PokeTalk, but then, after reviewing it, I was just sitting there thinking to myself, and I'm just, you know what? It could actually be a little better organized. Where, like, unruly Pokemon, that box eventually just becomes random Pokemon first. And then the Pokemon I'd be holding for trades, that would become random Pokemon after that. And then so on and so forth with new captures, and then holding the ones I'm holding to wait for a certain point to actually evolve them. All those boxes would just eventually become random Pokemon. Just, hey, okay, well, this box, I don't need it anymore, so make it random Pokemon. Whoever doesn't fit into one of the other boxes goes in there. Now, of course, I am grinding everyone up to level 15. That's taking a little while, but I am definitely making progress. And then after the battle with, that one trainer in Brock's gym, and then Brock himself, I will be having another grinding session. I must be a masochist at this point. And then that grinding session will actually be getting everyone to level 17. So hopefully it won't take too long, but I will not be having another PokeTalk right after that. It's actually going to be a Pokemon Stadium episode where I go through the Pika Cup. And the Pika Cup does require a minimum level of at least 15. I think they have to be unevolved. There's a few other conditions. I'll definitely be reading the different conditions once I get to that. And honestly, right here, right now, I do not know if I am going to be using like Pokemon from one of the actual cartridges, or I'm just going to be using rental Pokemon. It'll depend on like what the learn sets are. I'm going to have to look things up on, like what the learn sets are between the 3 cartridges for the Pokemon I've already caught. And, like, I'll be browsing through the Pokemon Stadium, see what the learn sets of the rental Pokemon are, and then I'll make my decision. Now, one last thing I didn't mention before was the Nidoran female. It is actually quite unique. If I let it evolve into Nidorina, and then at level 23 let it evolve into Nidoqueen by Moonstone, that is the only way for Nidoqueen to actually learn Body Slam. So that's an upside. The downside is that it can't learn any more moves. Most Pokemon can, only learn moves by leveling up, and if they evolve by Stone, once they're evolved, they stop learning moves altogether. I will not be doing that this fight, Body Slam is a pretty great move, but is it really worth it? I say no. Because then, at least in Red and Blue, Nidoqueen would be missing a bunch of cool moves like Double Kick, because that's a really, really nice move. It always guaranteed to hit twice, provided the first hit didn't knock them out. Now, in the first PokeTalk, I did talk about the 4 starters, with only actually 2 caught between the 3 games. However, from now on, I'm only going to be talking about Pokemon that I have actually caught. Preferably between all 3 games, although depending on when I'm doing these PokeTalks and what Pokemon are actually caught between all 3 games, there may be a few exceptions. Honestly, I don't know right now. And also, one last thing that I forgot to mention in the previous PokeTalk is I want to know from you, by the time this video uploads, should I do a 4-way competition type thing to find out which of the 4 starters is actually the best? Me, well, if I actually had a choice of 4, I would always choose Pikachu, no matter what. Some people would always choose, either Charmander, Bulbasaur, or Pikachu. So let me know if you want to see a 4-way competition between the 4 starters. Or actually, if I end up having the time, I may just do it anyway. But let me know what you think down in the comments below. So without further ado, let's get started. We have Nidoran female, we have Spearow, and we have Rattata. So let's start with ladies first, Nidoran female. Like the counterpart Nidoran male, in First Gen, the Nidorans are the only, gender-specific Pokemon. All others are just, whatever. No one cares. And Nidoran female, starting off as a poison type, takes a little while to level up. It is one of the weaker Pokemon, right at the beginning, right at, Viridian City. It is definitely one of the weaker Pokemon, but after leveling up and getting some more moves and increasing stats, it does definitely become a robust Pokemon. And then, eventually evolving into Nidorina, nice boost in stats. Nidoqueen, however, is definitely unique, because then, at that point, it becomes a dual type. Poison and ground. At least at that point, it's immune to any electrical attacks, even though electric Pokemon, at least in the wild and from, different trainers along the way are actually few and far between. Overall, just a really nice, robust Pokemon with really great stats. Next, let's talk about Spearow. So, Spearow, one of the very early flying types, and definitely a Pokemon that is pretty much everywhere in tall grass, I definitely kind of like it a little over Pidgey, because when you first catch it, it actually knows a flying type move and can take advantage of its type set. Spearow may not have as high of a just like generic attack stat instead of a special stat. It more than makes up for it. Just one of the great Pokemon, and definitely a great one to catch very early on in the game. And then there's Rattata. Oh boy. The main reason I had Rattata at the forefront for most of the catching montage just a little while back is because Rattata is a very, very fast Pokemon. So as I'm encountering all the duplicates of ones I've already caught, or maybe, the 2 Cocoon Pokemon that I don't want to catch, it's pretty much guaranteed to be able to run away. The downside of that, as I'm sure you remember, is that, a high speed means a lot of criticals. So on Pokemon I'm trying to catch, yeah. But against Pokemon that I'm just battling to level up, or against trainers, hey, the more criticals, the better. And eventually evolving into Eradicate does give it quite a nice speed attack boost. And of course, one of the signature moves, at least in the first few generations, Hyper Fang, and learned actually quite early, only at level 14. Nice. So yeah, Hyper Fang is pretty much a guaranteed one-hit KO. But there is a little bit of a trade-off. The slight downside to that is that it only has an 80% accuracy, at least at the start. Until one of those stupid Pidgey come along and start using nothing but Sand Attack. In case it wasn't clear, I absolutely hate the wild Pidgey and the NPC cop Pidgey that use nothing but Sand Attack. And that is going to be it for this PokeTalk at least. So, after all 3 cartridges, get the Boulder badge, grind again up to level 17, and while I'm doing that, I'll, also be filming for the Pika Cup on Pokemon Stadium. So it will be a little while until the next PokeTalk. Thank you all so much for watching. Don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe if you haven't, hit the bell so you can always be notified whenever I might upload a video. And of course, have fun.